Jeannette Rankin is considered to be an unknown hero from the times of women's suffrage and for many years afterwards. We plan to tell her story through the hardships and advancements she made against women not being able to vote. Even though this was nearly 100 years ago, her story has still much to tell and teach. She tirelessly fought to give women the right to vote and eventually succeeded. Through trial and error, Rankin persisted and left a lasting footprint into which later carved American politics. 1909 and 1910 were pivotal years for Jeannette. She was frustrated with social work and took it upon herself to fill in the gaps. She studied economics, sociology, and public speaking to hold an effective campaign. Rankin was among the thousands of suffragists at the 1913 suffrage march in Washington, D.C. before the inauguration of Woodrow Wilson. While living in Washington, she became active in the drive to give women the right to vote. This was passed in 1911, and after that, she returned home to Montana to win the vote in her home state. Montana residents voted to give women the right to vote in 1914. She was the first woman to be elected into the House of Representatives in 1916. A year later, she earned her second distinction by joining 49 of her House colleagues in voting against U.S. entry into World War I. Jeannette said, "Killing more people won't help matters." That vote destroyed her prospects for re-election in 1918. She then opened up a third-party campaign in the general election. Although unsuccessful in this Senate race, Rankin helped destroy negative public attitudes about women as being on the board of Senate. Finally, in 1920, the United States had given women, border to border, the right to vote. Over the next 20 years, she tirelessly campaigned for world peace. Rankin said, "As a woman, I can't go to war, and I refuse to send anyone else." In 1940, she was a proud isolationist and won her second seat in the House. December 1941 comes around when Japan attacks Pearl Harbor. Rankin, throughout this time, was still the only member of Congress to vote against war on Japan. She once said, "You can no more win a war than you can win an earthquake." During her second seat, she served with Maine's Margaret Chase Smith and agreed with her comment that went, "I'm no lady, I'm a member of Congress." In 1968, at the noble age of 88, Rankin led the Jeannette Rankin Peace Brigade. This included 5,000 black women, and they were marching to protest the Vietnam War. Going back to her childhood, Jeannette was born in Montana June 11, 1880. She was the oldest of 6 and holds her alma mater to Montana State University and later attended the New York School of Philanthropy. She was a social worker and a lobbyist for women's rights. She then moved to Seattle, Washington to attend the University of Washington, which then led her to become part of the women's suffrage movement. She then dedicated her career to this cause. Rankin never married and reportedly did not want to be a baby factory, as she thought her mother was. In her early 20s, she had turned down a number of marriage proposals. Some historians think that she may have been lesbian. Her brother telegrammed that Montana is 100% against you, while the state Republican Party chair called on Rankin to redeem Montana's honor by revoting. Rankin quietly served the rest of her term and did not run for re-election. Later, she passed away in Carmel, California in 1973 at the age of 93. She was more than a symbol of female representation. She helped lay the groundwork for generations of women politicians to follow. The slowly but steady amount of women now in Congress has become more of a norm. In the 2016 election, our first female candidate, Hillary Clinton, ran for presidency. Although unsuccessful, advancements and breakthroughs are being made each year in Congress history. Montana still has yet to elect a second female member to Congress. In the U.S. Capitol's Statuary Hall stands a bronze statue of Jeannette. To this day, 313 women have served in the U.S. Congress, yet Rankin remains the only one to have represented Montana this far. Since gaining statehood in 1889, all 22 of Montana's senators and 33 of its 34 representatives have been men, including current Senators Steve Daines and John Tester, and current Representative Ryan Zink. She even has a scholarship fund named after her, named the Jeannette Rankin Scholarship Fund. The eligibility requirements are as follows: a woman 35 years or older, low income, a United States citizen while pursuing a vocational education, associate's degree or bachelor's degree, and must be enrolled in or accepted to a nonprofit, regionally accredited institution. We hope that this story gave you an insight of the difficulties women faced in the early 1900s and how challenging it was to change the political system. With thanks to Jeannette Rankin, history has been changed and evolved for the better. We encourage you to ask questions regarding her life or legacy.